The class tonight is, of course, on sugar addiction. Sugar addiction, in my opinion, hand down, is the #1 addiction in America. It is more dangerous than drugs, alcohol, and cigarettes combined. It's killing more people than all three of those things combined. Let me tell you this. It's not your fault. As I said, we're responsible for our own health, and that's true. But you'll find that there's a lot of environmental factors working against you that's making this a very, very challenging issue. A lot of people you might have heard, and a lot of even food companies and the insurance companies, they're all kind of saying, well, you're responsible for your own health. You know, it's mind over matter. You might have heard that a lot. It's mind over matter. Just make the decision not to eat donuts and cookies and things like that. Well, it's not really that simple, as we'll find out. There's a lot of physiological things going on in the body that's forcing this reaction to happen, forcing us to have these cravings. But there are some things you can do. I'm going to hand out a couple things. I don't want you to focus on reading this while I'm speaking, but we'll kind of go over a couple of these things. One is an article on 78 reasons why we should avoid sugar. Basically, 78 reasons on how sugar destroys the body. What I really like about the article, and if you want the rest of it, I can email it to you. I want to make sure I have everyone's... Do we have everyone's email address on the... No?
I can pass out a sheet, though.
Yeah, we should get everyone's email address. What's great about this article is there's 78 things on there, and what's neat about it is every single one of those things has a reference that's specifically tied to either a medical journal or a research study. So these aren't just 78 things that made up that, that we're saying, sugar's not bad for you, this is why. There's actually studies and research behind every single thing on this list. Sugar's been studied extensively, believe me, from rats to humans, and exactly the effects that it has on the body. The other article is tips to avoid and to kind of cut back on sugar to help with the addictive nature of it. And then on the back there's 2 pages of recipes, which are either include quality sugars, which we'll go over what those are, or no sugar at all. But they're desserts and treats and things that you can have that are healthier choices and healthier alternatives. I'm sure there's a way I could have a little clicker that works, but I'm really not very technologically savvy, so we're going to go ahead. And if you have any questions, just shoot it up, and I'll answer it right away. And we'll just go that way. Does anybody have any questions so far? It's just an intro, so I guess not. Out of 191 countries, and some of these statistics are kind of old, but out of 191 countries that they've ranked on just overall health care and the level of health of the people of that country, America ranks 37. And I've seen statistics much lower than that. And it's really frightening when you look at things that should be common, simple things where we shouldn't be making mistakes in areas like infant mortality. Our rates are worse than a lot of third world countries. So there's a lot of poor practices going on in the medical community, unfortunately. I think one of the main causes of America having such a poor standard of health in the country is sugar. I actually attribute it to 2 things. One is sugar, and the other one is the complete disconnect we have from nature. We've never been more disconnected from nature ever in the history of mankind. And those are the 2 things plaguing Americans and causing autoimmune conditions. Yes?
Do you have any more of these?
I don't know how many people we have, but I made 30. So if there's any couples that can maybe share, because we might be kind of short-handed, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. And this doesn't have the most recent decades research, but it just shows the increasing rate of diabetes. Just within 10 years, it's increased tremendously. All the diseases of affluence have increased dramatically over the last 10 and 20 years. And we'll go over that a little bit, but basically diseases of affluence, of having too much sugar, for example, heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. Those are the basic things Americans are dying of. Like I said, that article was 78 things why sugar is destroying your health. We're just going to go over a couple of them. This is a big one. It completely wipes out your immune system. It's one of the reasons so many people are developing autoimmune conditions. Because of the disconnect from the earth and because of the sugar in their systems wiping out their immune system, not only depleting their immune system, but confusing their immune system. Confusing their immune system to the point where it actually starts attacking itself. which is the definition of what an autoimmune condition does. And I think everybody here, probably safe to say, knows somebody that has some type of autoimmune condition. It's just so common these days. Rheumatoid arthritis and lupus, and just there's so many of them. This is a big one for me. A lot of people don't realize that excess sugar consumption will completely wipe out the minerals in your body. Your body has to compete for nutrients, okay? And it wants minerals and it wants quality things in the body and in the cells, but when you're constantly bombarding it with sugar, it has to compete with that, and it'll completely wipe out your mineral levels. And because sugar is such an acidic substance, it'll actually pull minerals from your bones, okay? Which, this is the main reason people are getting osteoporosis, an acidic body. Sugar consumption, high meat consumption, high dairy consumption, especially the processed dairy products. It's not a lack of calcium. We didn't just suddenly become the only culture in the world that's not eating calcium anymore, and we just magically got osteoporosis. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people seem to think. When you go to a doctor, you get diagnosed with osteoporosis, what do? They throw a calcium pill at you. Which, by the way, we can do another class on this, but a calcium supplement is the worst possible thing you can be putting in your body. It does nothing to build bone health. And that's actually what the research shows now. That excess calcium floating through your body is what's causing you to degenerate and age rapidly. What are cataracts? Calcium buildup. Hearing loss. Brain degeneration. Alzheimer's linked to calcium and heavy metals. Just over time, we just start to get crickety. That's calcium buildup. We start to get hunched over. That's all calcium buildup. Kidney stones, gallstones, bone spurs. All excess calcium in the body. So taking calcium supplements is the last thing you can do to help with osteoporosis. But there are a lot of things you can do. But mineralization is everything. And I kind of get stuck on this because I'm huge on minerals. One of the main problems, because of our lifestyle and the foods we have available to us in America, we're so mineral depleted. That's why we're exhausted all the time. That's why our bones are getting weak. That's why we're developing all these illnesses, because of severe mineral deficiencies. So you really want to focus on that. Causes low blood sugars as well as high blood sugar problems. We'll kind of go over how that happens. It's kind of the roller coaster effect. ADD it's tied to, pretty much any inflammatory condition. If you have any type of inflammation in the body, which all illnesses in the body can be linked to some sort of inflammation going on in the body, sugar is just going to exacerbate that. It's just going to make it worse. If anybody's experienced a lot of severe pain and come off of sugar, they probably notice a huge difference in their health. Can anybody attest to that? Yeah? Anybody else? You want to say anything about it?
Well, it was fun coming off of it. So the cold turkey, when I did my cleansing. And actually, it's with my knees, and I could kind of feel it when I started. You end up, maybe when you do that, you don't realize you're having sugar, but you are, and the things that you eat, and I could kind of start to feel it again in my knees.
Oh, when you started eating sugar?
Yeah,
right.
yeah. But it made a big difference.
Good.
It still does.
That's good. Thank you for sharing. Obesity, that's an obvious one. We're going to kind of go over good fats a little bit. Another important topic for me, but the fats you're eating, when I say fats, I mean good fats, which we'll talk a little bit about good fats versus bad fats, but good fats in your body will never make you fat. What makes you fat is sugar, period. The body cannot process it all, and when it can't process it, it just stores it. It doesn't have a choice. It increases your cholesterol levels. Aging, this is a big one. If you want to age prematurely, we know that smoking will cause premature aging. We know drinking will cause premature aging. People don't realize the sugar they put in their body is going to cause premature aging because it completely breaks down the collagen matrix. The collagen is that threading, that web that makes up your bones, joints, ligaments, tissues, skin. Okay? And sugar will destroy that. So you want to get wrinkles real fast, eat a lot of sugar. Rise in triglycerides, fluid retention, edema, depression, and mood swings. People have some people do, especially if they've come off sugar and got back on it. don't realize the mood swings that are caused by sugar and how it affects your mood and your personality and your emotions and that roller coaster effect